Hello guys, how y'all doing? This here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about this new film that I just watched on the cinema today, and I watched this with a bunch of people that I don't know of. I don't have like an actual real friend to invite to these kind of things, but you know, whatever. And the movie that I'm talking about is actually a movie called Ready or Not 2. Here I Come. Even from the title, it was just super on the brand, because that's basically what you say after say Ready or Not, here I come. Like, it makes sense. I think I almost chuckled at the title, and I was super excited because I know that I got to see Samara Weaving again, and I'm a huge fan of the first movie, Ready or Not. That was released back in 2019. Watched it a couple of times over the weekends, and it was just remarkable. I would say it was so amazing, and it was her scream and some of the scenes that really captured my attention. That I don't know if there's gonna be any other movie that's ever gonna top this, like during that year. And then of course, as you know, soon after that we have pandemic for a couple of years, and then I thought I'm never gonna see like one of these movies ever again. Like I thought that was like, I mean, that would be the last one. That would be the last time I'm gonna watch a movie that I really gonna like. Then fast forward a couple of years later, here we are talking about Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. So I think this video that I'm gonna make is gonna contain like so many spoilers from the first one and the second one. In this video, I just want to talk everything about it, talking about it in a way that how it affects me, how I feel about it, like what I think about this scene. I gotta admit, this is not a movie for everybody, because there's so many gore in this movie. There's so many like scenes that are excruciating to look at, and I just don't know, like, I mean, if I'm gonna talk about this to just anybody, I don't know if they're gonna be comfortable with it. I don't know. So I thought, you know, make a video about it and see if there's like people who's gonna click on this video and maybe like it, or you know, gonna watch through the end just to see if they can agree with me in some points or not. First thing first, how do I come up across the first one? I gotta mention the obvious. It's thanks to the YouTube shorts that I watched. The trailers helps in setting the mood, the whole mood. I remember I saved it on my playlist, my upcoming movie trailers playlist, because it was really amazing, and I was like, damn, this looks so good, I'm gonna watch it. I don't care what's gonna happen, I'm just gonna watch it. And true to that, I did watch it, and it was amazing. So the first one is a story about a woman named Grace, and she was about to be married into this very wealthy Le Domas family. And I guess what really draws me into this is basically her husband. I remember his name was Alex, and he was super gorgeous. And here we are, we have this like two loving couple that they just met 2 years prior, and then they talk about how their first meeting and whatnot, and they just like head over the heels and whatever. And then when it comes to, you know, the marrying part, Grace just want to make it official. Like, she doesn't want to be living in scenes forever. So very conservative of her, I guess, of her to do that. But you know, to each his own. Some people like not marrying forever, some people want to be married. So she wants to get married. Alex was like, okay, but if you want to marry, you better be married with my rules, like my family rules more precisely. So he gave her this, I guess you can call it an ultimatum, like, you know, you have to marry here, and then, you know, just everything will be involving my family. Like, you know, they're rich, which is why maybe in a way they kind of like eccentric. So Grace, who by this point we learn she doesn't have anybody. We learn that she's all alone in this world. That's all we know at this point. So she craved for a real family. And I don't know, at this point when I was watching this scene, I was like, really, girl? Really? You really think that this super wealthy people are gonna just accept you into their family just like that, without no string attached or without any hidden ulterior motives? Like, it seems too easy. Then again, we're just at the beginning of the movie, so you would not know that yet, that there is something sinister is lurking behind the scene. Fast forward to the wedding. They said their vows, in which Grace noticed almost everybody is welcoming, you know. So basically Alex have two other siblings. One is his brother, and then the other one is his little sister, I think, who always the fuck ups of the family. Basically she could do nothing right. And this sister have, I think, about 2 other children with her. She still have her husband, and so does the older brother, but he doesn't have any children of his own. The older brother looks super miserable. He keeps on insinuating to Grace that if you want to walk out from here, you can. The window is still open. But Grace was all in. I don't know if it's the money or because she truly loved Alex. Which, to be honest with you, looking at Alex myself, I could not agree more, because he was super gorgeous. Okay, I would marry that face any second of the day. Like, he's so gorgeous, right? So I get it why Grace doesn't want to back down, why she still wanted to continue marrying this guy, even though they only met for like 2 years. And if given chances, Alex would be fine if they're not married at all. Like, he would be fine with. Grace really wants to get married, so married they are. And it is so obvious that the father was pretty, I guess, kind of like on the fence. Like, he was not happy, but he was not really unhappy about it. He was just waiting, I guess, for the lack of the better word. He was just waiting to see if this one is a right fit or not. But his mom, Alex's mom, is more welcoming. I remember she's more welcoming, she's very warm, and she's very kind. Usually the mother of the groom would be insufferable, right? So she's very welcoming, and when she look at Grace, she know that her son, her favorite son, has finally brought home a good one. I mean, in her own words, right? Also, of course, I forgot to mention, they also have an aunt who is an older aunt, and she's all alone. She doesn't have any spouses with her, so I bet she's an old maid. And you know, so she is far less enthusiastic about Grace, welcoming Grace into the family. Clearly can be seen on her eyes that she already am thinking that Grace is a gold digger or something. Like, it's clear on her eyes. You're just here for the money, aren't you, girl? After the photos, the wedding photos, in which the guest has left the place, now what's left is the core family members of Les Domas, and now they're about to play a game. Now, Grace was not informed about this game before the wedding. She was only informed after the wedding, as form of like initiation kind of thing. So basically, if you marry the Les Domas, you have to play the game, because their family fortune was built based on board games and all sort of games that come after that. So it's like, this is our family tradition that's been going on for years and years, and you be a fool not to play one, because something terrible would happen if you don't play the game. So Grace, upon hearing it, thought it was just like a tradition, like nothing bad would come out of it. So she was like, okay, I would play the game, especially after hearing from her brother-in-law, the guy that marries into the sister, and also sister-in-law, which is the girl who married into the big brother, right? She heard it from them that, you know what, when I first married to this family, I get a card, and it was, you know, a board game or something. And then the other one say, I got an old maid. And he was like, what the fuck is an old maid? I mean, that alone would make her feel safe, right? Oh, it's just a silly old card game, so who cares? So she thought nothing wrong would come out of it, because these people come out from the game, like they played it before, they come out from the game, and it's fine for them. So where could it possibly be going wrong, right? And so Grace, naively went into the game without thinking that there's gonna be like a bad card gonna come out from those deck of cards. Like, I mean, she wasn't even like entertaining the possibility that could happen. So she pulled a card basically under a watchful eyes of Les Domas family, and unfortunately for her, she pulled out a bad card, which is a hide and seek card. So previously, at the beginning of the movie, we've seen what happened to the guy who played this card, hide and seek. and it does not end well with the guy. So she pulled that bad card, and you can see immediately Alex's face drop. Like he does not expect that to happen, because you know, nothing else happened to the previous people who married into his siblings, right? So when he saw that, he was like speechless. He didn't know what to say, and the rest of the family was basically ready on their feet, ready to play the game, because there's a higher things at stake here. The only problem is that Grace didn't know any of it. She was really went into this completely blind and naive, and doesn't know like this is. I mean, she doesn't know if something terrible is about to happen to her. So she then asked the question, I got hide and seek. Are we really gonna play that? And they all say yes, we are gonna play that. So there's gonna be a set of rules, and then you hide, we seek. So the instruction is so simple. So Grace was like, okay, I'm gonna hide now. So everybody get ready, and they already start sharpening weapons and tools, and this is where it started to get pretty interesting, because now we know that the game was not really a very innocent child game, but actually a life and death kind of like matter situation. So Grace better hide very well, or she might be dead in the next few hours to come. So this is where the movie starts. Basically, Grace went to hiding. I remember the first place that she hides in was a dumbwaiter, because you know, she have her wedding in this like big old mansion, and it belongs to Ledoma's family, so they have to marry somewhere else, but does the reception there because it's a tradition. They need to be married there because Mr. LaBelle, which is their benefactor, wants it that way. So Grace went into the dumbwaiter waiting while everybody else was sharpening their tools and ready to kill her. And of course, during this time, the family members was having a conversation of either, first of all, is Mr. LaBelle really exists? Like, who actually sees him? And then, shocker, Alex was the one who sees Mr. LaBelle when he was little. Like, Mr. LaBelle smiles upon him, basically. So, it's really like at this time, at least, we really like only have a glimpse here and there about Mr. LaBelle, the benefactor. We can only like guess who he could be, but I already felt like he's not gonna be like a very like, you know, humanly being or whatever. He might be like a supernatural kind of being at this point, because you know, there's so many things insinuated here and there. Like for example, the drawings, the board games, there's a lot of like devilish imagery in it, like imprinted in them. So it's not hard to tell that who's this Mr. LaBelle could be. As the family members are discussing either it's true or not, of course the outsider, people who are married into the family, also question if it's ever real, because nobody have seen anything weird. But their father-in-law stresses that this game is as real as it can get, because everybody who fails to play the game, they died the next morning. So unless you wanted to, you know, F around and find out, let's get on with it and kill the girl before the dust, because that's basically the timeline that they have before the game is over. So after the very heated discussion in which some of them believe it's true, some of them doesn't believe, so they begin to seek for the girl, and then fighting, running, a lot of things ensures. Like I think Butler has most of the screen time too. I mean, there's so many things, revelation along the way, things that you thought was real and then suddenly not, and then things that could not be real suddenly become way too real. And I remember by the end of the movie, I was super satisfied and very sad. And I tell you why I'm very sad. It's because I think I really am rooting for the couple, the young couple, the young newlyweds to stay together, because I just want true love to win. But I guess that's not a part of the bargain, because at the end of the day, spoiler alert, Alex still chooses his family, even though despite he renounced them once. But at the end of the day, I guess what broke his freaking, like, broke the things on a camelback, whatever, is when he saw the death of his older brother and mom. Like, he saw Grace killing his mom, and I think it broke something in him. I told you before, right? His mom was super warm, super welcoming. Like, psychologically, if you saw a woman that have loved you all your life and whatever being murdered in front of your eyes by the woman that you claim to love in the past 2 years, it's just becoming way too much and too real for him. So at that moment he broke, and then he reclaiming his faith in Satan again, and he say hail Satan, and then he wants to kill Grace. Eventually the morning came by, and at this moment I was so fooled by the movie. I already been fooled by the movie because I thought nothing's gonna happen to them because it's already daybreak, but nothing happened. And then suddenly everybody splattered into nothingness one by one. Like, you know, their last words and everything. It was just super shocking. I was taken aback. So everybody dies, including Alex. But a part of me always will wonder what would happen if he just chooses to stay with Grace. Like, what would happen to him? But I think he's still gonna die because he's a part of, like, Les Domas. Of course he's gonna die because that's the rules. So basically Grace won, but the entire family was wiped off, and the credit, like the credit rolls with her smoking outside and paramedics announced what happened, and then she just answered in-laws, and I was like left with that conclusion back in 2019. So that was 7 years ago. So for the past 7 years I always wonder what's gonna happen to Grace after that. Like, it was the most craziest, intense 1 hour and a half that I ever experienced in a cinema, and it's just a moment that I will never forget for the rest of my life because it was super thrilling. And the screaming, man, I still remember Samara Weaving screams for days afterwards because her scream was super, not only that it was intense, but it has this certain level of pitch that I never heard in any of Scream Queens before. Like, it's almost impossible for you to forget. So anyway, with that conclusion, I've been waiting silently for the past 7 years for another one of these to come out, but I was not hoping, I was not holding my breath or whatever. I was secretly wishing that, yes, I really hope they make a number 2. I really hope they're gonna bring Samara again. I don't know how they're gonna continue from the first one, but I hope it's gonna be a good one. My prayers finally be answered this year. They finally have Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, and I got the chance to watch it today on the cinema with a bunch of people I don't know of. I arrived, I remember, 5 minutes a bit late because I was buying presents for people. So it's like, I mean this thing, I was trying to avoid the advertisement in the cinemas. I freaking hate that. So usually they would have this like 15 minutes of like advertisement of the next trailer of this and that and that. I just wanted to escape all of that because I'm so bored. The last time I went to see Scream 7, which I didn't make a video of, maybe I will, we'll see about that. But a couple of days ago I watched Scream 7 and I have to sit through 15 minutes of ads, and I hate that. So I skipped the whole ads, but this time I unfortunately overdid it a little bit. So I was 5 minutes late for the first scene. So I don't know what exactly happened in the first 5 scenes. All I know that when I arrived, the little sister, who by then I don't know her name, was actually Faith, has arrived, and she is apparently the next of kin in her in Grace's emergency. Because I didn't sit through the first 5 minutes, I guess after the first film's ordeal, Grace have to be put into hospital to treat her wounds and everything else. So not only that, she's also now a suspect of the murder case of the entire Les Domas family. So she can be prosecuted or put into jail. So it's like one of those pick. And Grace was so not into that. And then of course the little sister appears and she was mad at her because there has been, I guess they have been estranged. Like basically Faith, the little sister, doesn't even know Grace was married. She doesn't know that her sister is around town, and like she have no idea why her sister didn't contact her and whatever. Like they have a falling out basically, and she is mad that the sister get married without telling her. And also, it's been 7 years. Why didn't you change your emergency contact to someone else? And then we have this whole scene of like a bunch of people from different parts of the world. Like we got, I think, maybe in Spain, some in Chinese, and then India, and then where else do we have? Somewhere closer, I think, like two brother or sister, or I first thought they were just like a husband and wife because they're super close, but I later learned that they were actually a twin brother and sister, and their name is, what is their name? I forgot, but they are a huge chunk of this whole thing. Like basically their father is the leader of this like seat, the very important one. Like apparently Les Domas was not alone in this. They have like a bunch of other families as well that also are devil worshipper, and because of that they kind of like sort of control the world, and some of them live in a very like comfortable cushy life, and nothing was amiss before. Like everything was fine until Grace wins this whole thing. Like when she wins the game, she also triggers something, and it basically shakes the whole foundation. So now they have to point like a new chair or something. So everybody is summoned to win the chair, and that's where the second movie basically starts. That fresh from the whole horrors and terrors and gore that happens on the first one, now Grace have to fight again for her life. Like, I'm sorry, at this point I was like, dang, even Katniss Everdeen from Hunger Games got a couple of years break before she even went to that 7/5 quarter or whatever final thingy, right? Like even she have a break, like a year gap before she went back on the field again and start killing other people to survive. Like even she have that, but not this girl, not Samara Weaving, not Grace. Fresh from the whole horrors, now she's been trusted into the game again and she has to win it. So you can understand her confusion, her horror, her crying way out of this. Like she doesn't want to play this again because it was super fresh to her. Like she just lost the love of her life and now she have to play this horrible game all over again, and she doesn't want to do it. But of course, now that she have the little sister, everything changes now, because of course she wants to save the sister, because if she doesn't want to play the game, they're gonna kill the sister, and of course she cannot have that. So eventually she agrees to play the game. Like she agrees, and the rules are simple. Basically Grace and the sister have to play, like both of them have to play the game, because they are the new Les Domas family now, the remaining ones. I don't know how that works, but sure, like so they have to save themselves basically, while others went out and hunt them. So the other big family members that I just mentioned, like the one from China, India and whatnot, like they consist of like a bunch of people that I've seen in a TV or movies before. Like for example, I remember Buffy the Vampire Slayers, Sarah Michael Gellar, right? I remember her playing the twins, like one of the one of the twins. And then some of the guy I never seen before. I don't know where. I mean, this actor is new to me. I am not familiar with him at all. Like they play the family that was supposed to hold the seat, but then because of this winning thingy, like their positions are threatened and now they have to fight for it again. So clearly they are pissed because it was supposed to be handed to them, but instead of handed to them, now they have to fight for it. So obviously they're pissed and they're willing to do whatever it takes to win the game. All right, so we got this family, and then we also get the other family, which is the Indian family, which consists of 3 people. I remember it was the oldest brother, and then there's the younger brother, and he's married to a woman who looks like she's pregnant, but I don't know. So we have that, and then also we have the ones from China, who is a woman, a business tycoon who seems to know what she's doing, and also she came with her son who is addicted to playing games, online games. So not much hope there already. We can see that the mother, I mean, if the mother wants to win this, she have to use her brain. So you know, and cannot rely on the son, because all he knows is to play the game. And then we also have the ones from Spain, Mexico, I don't know which part of the country that is, but we got Nestor Carbonell, the guy from, I think, The Walking Dead, right? But I'm familiar with him after watching him from The Bates Motel. He's one of the sheriff, which is kind of ironic because in this movie he cannot shoot for shit. Like, the aim was super bad, and it's kind of like hereditary. Like, you know, all I mean, even the daughters, because he have a daughter who apparently used to be paired with Alex, Grace's late husband, now that he's dead. And they used to be a thing until he left her for Grace, which is so funny, but I get it. They wanted to, you know, ruffle some feathers there, of course, you know, some vendetta and some shit that would always make a good I guess fighting scenes. And then of course she have a younger brother who doesn't look much, but I have no idea at this point that kid can freaking shot a gun like a maze ball there. But anyway, next we have some random guy who does nothing but stand on the corner. I guess he was just waiting for everybody else to die, and then he take the final swoop or something. I mean he was just waiting for everybody else to fail so that he can just, you know, came up front and be the winner or something like that. He was just waiting for it. And I think I've pretty much covered everybody that are a part of all of this. And of course, how can I forget, we also have Elijah Woods, Frodo himself, to play the guy who, I guess, the bookkeeper of this game. Like, he seems to be into it, and he remembers all the rules so well, to the point that I was like, who is this guy? Like, why is he keeping the scores? Like, what is going on? Like, I'm super confused. But it will sooner be revealed who he truly is, or so I thought. I mean, this is my only theory after watching the movie for the first time. I have no idea if I'm correct or not, but I'll tell you guys later what I think of him, okay? So anyway, now that I already mentioned all the players, let's get into the game. So we have Samara, aka Grace, and her little sister Faith in this game, and they have to, of course, run for their lives, survive this thing until sunrise. And if they do, they're gonna win it and get the highest position on the chair. And if they don't, then the both of them are gonna be dead. So the whole thing happened again, just like the first time, only that this time I have to say this because I don't know if this is like unevenness or whatever. I mean, I don't feel the closeness of the chemistry of all of these new players. I'm sorry to say this, like, I like Nestor Carbonell, whatever, I like them, you know. Sarah Michael Gellar, yes, they are very established actor and actresses, but for whatever reason I'm just not feeling it. I don't know what it is. It doesn't have the closeness of the first film. Like, the chemistry is lacking somewhere. I don't know if it's Samara herself, or I don't know. I think Samara did a good job. I don't know what it is. I just feel like everybody was just, some of them are being put there for the sake of being put there. Like, for example, like, if you guys remember, if I mentioned the woman that used to be with Alex, right? I feel like she was super underused. Like, of course, there's some like choreographed, you know, fighting scene between those two, but she's super lame. Can I just say that? She's just super lame in this movie. Like, you know, I thought she's gonna be good at it. I mean, at least, because, I don't know, I mean, if you just gonna put two liners in a den, better make both of them good, you know. But she was crappy at it. Like, she's not good at fighting. She was like, she's all fangs but no bite, or what is the saying, you know? Like, she all the noise but no bite or something. So their fighting scene was super funny. Instead of like intense, it was funny. And I don't know, she's just so over dramatic as well, because she also, just like Grace, wanted to be wearing those wedding dress after her father. Spoiler alert, Nestor Cabanel died in the most horrifically bloodied way, and I don't know how to feel about that, because I feel like the Nestor Cabanel I seen on the movie before was just super dope, but this one, he was just terrible at firing guns and then he died a bloodied death, and now the daughter is no better, and I don't know. So she's very dramatic. So she's wearing all the wedding dress, I guess just to compete with Grace, and then Grace tried to taunt her like, you know, Alex doesn't love you, Alex doesn't choose you, he choose me and whatever. And then they fight, and then I don't remember how she dies really, because it was really, oh yeah, I remember how she dies, but it was just out of like blind rage really. Like, Grace was just super mad because somebody, I think it was the twins took her little sister Faith and used her as ransom. But before we get to that, if you guys remember the Chinese woman, the tycoon, she found something on the claws that nobody in other families knows before, and it was this like wedding clause. So basically, if Grace agreed to marry into the family, they don't have to continue playing the game, and she just have to basically say Hail Satan and everything will be fine again. Like, they don't have to murder each other. And she even made the proposition for Grace to marry her son, who is addicted to game, and she even said all those words like, basically, you know what, you could marry someone else, you could marry somebody as cold-blooded and psychopath like Titus. Titus is the guy who's one of the twins, like the twin brother, but he was super emotionless and he was super out of control, that it's almost like she's a beast basically, like, you know, very strong and brute and stuff. And at times it seems like the twin sister is controlling him, because, you know, he seems out of control. Like, he say whatever he wants to say, he do whatever he wants to do, and, you know, the only way to provoke him is to slap him for whatever reason. So the Chinese woman said, you know, you could be doing so much worse marrying somebody like Titus, but you can marry my son, and I promise you, Grace, we will not do anything to you. Like, we left you to your own life. Like, you know, you can do whatever you wanted, and then we do whatever we wanted. And imagine all the powers, not so bad, you know, it's not so bad. And then Grace, still high on his horse or whatever you want to call it, she still have her moral grounds wrapped into herself. Like, she's basically, and do what? Sell my soul to the devil and keep killing innocent people. She pointed at herself, because I guess she's still affected by this whole thing. Like, you know, being haunted still traumatized her very, very much, because just freshly coming out from that whole horrors and now being trusted to this shit. So the Chinese woman keeps on saying, you know what, all you have to do is just say yes. In which to Grace say no. And there's these other rules where players could not kill another players from other families, because it would be against the rules. And unfortunately for this Chinese woman, she mistakenly killed Nestor Cabanel, you know, and that's why Nestor Cabanel died in this movie. So he died, which triggers the Chinese woman to die alongside with her son, who is addicted to playing games. Now this like whole family has been wiped off. Now we left the Indian guy, the Indian family, and then we got the twins, and then we got the remaining of Nestor Cabanel children, the girl who hates Grace because apparently she felt like Grace stole Alex from her. And then we have the whole fighting scenes, right? Because they each other just wanted to just hate each other's gut and wants to save themselves and stuff like that. And of course Faith got captured by the twins. And I gotta say, her scene, Faith's scene with the guy Titus, was super hard to watch. Like anytime a man was exerting violence to a woman, I just found it very hard to stomach, like that scene. And I was like, so many times I tried to look away, but you know, he kept on kicking her. He keeps on kicking her. And I was like, damn, I wish this man would die. I just wish he would die in this movie. But of course, he outpowered both of them. And of course, he got to use the sister upon his little sister, Sarah Michael Gellar's suggestion. Like, we can use her. We don't have to kill her. We can use her. So they basically cornered Grace, like literally cornered her to this like frozen room. She cannot do anything, and then suddenly she remembers the Chinese woman says something along the way. She said, you know what, if you marry my son, all of this will be over. And so Grace, with her brilliant thinking, remembers that. So she suggested that to Titus. You know what, you can have all the chairs, you just have to marry me. The Chinese woman say that. And then Titus looked at the gamekeeper face, and then he kind of like, yeah, that is allowed. And he was like, all right, I get the chair, you have to marry me. And of course Grace making swore to Mr. LaBelle for that, because how is she gonna trust him not to kill both of them after they come out? And so it was agreed, like they're gonna marry each other. And this is the moment, I would say, out of all the moments that happens in the second movie, that I really am looking forward to, because I know after that blood drenched wedding dress, which is so horrible, I mean, it started as a beautiful wedding dress, only it's just being splattered with so much blood that my girl Samara Weaving deserve an upgrade. And the freaking satanic bride's freaking wedding dress doesn't disappoint, because they look super dope. It was super beautiful, and I was like, oh my god, this is like Immaculate all over again. Now if you guys haven't seen Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney, it is a movie about, I guess, a nun who get entrusted into Italian nunnery, and then people start to hail her as Hail Mary. So they dress her as a Hail Mary when she got pregnant. So suddenly, whatever reason, she suddenly is pregnant, so they dress her as a Virgin Mary. It gives me that moment. I don't know how they managed to cook that up so quickly and easily, as if they have this ready-made or whatever for her. But now they're gonna marry each other. But before that, if you guys remember, Titus have a sister, right? The Sarah Michael Gellar, right? So you can see in her face that she started to feel threatened, because now we have, I mean, here we have Grace, the only remaining member of La Domas, and now we have her brother who is out of control. So who's to say if the brother marries Grace, Grace is not going to influence him? So she is desperate for somebody to be on her side, because she still want to be in control. But it's clearly that she's all brains and no brawn, so she's gonna lose this fight. You know, if she's being put in this game where there's Titus, Grace, and her, she's gonna lose it. So of course she wants people to be on her side, but unfortunately for her, Titus overheard this conversation and think the worst of her, and decided to kill her right then and there to set an example to Grace, a woman who's soon to be his wife. And Grace looks terrified. She looks terrified. But I know my girl's gonna survive this. But doesn't mean that I'm not sad that she agrees to marry Titus, and then, you know, saying Hail Satan. Like, I mean, I feel so bad because she fighted so hard Tooth and Nail, the first one. And that's basically what happened to her. Like, if you watch the first one, her freaking hands got nailed just so she could just climb up. And that was just, what a moment, you know, what a momentous event, you know, like it was just a scene to behold. But this time she was like defeated, just willing to marry this psychopath and maybe ruin her fucking soul forever. Then I was just, oh, come on, my girl, I know you have it in you. I know you have something in you. Like, do not say no to this. I know you can survive it, my girl. But also at the same time, I don't know how she's gonna survive this. So anyway, fast forward to the wedding. So the wedding is being held like nearly dawn, and of course she's marrying Titus. And I don't know what it is, but Titus is looking at her with such lust. I feel like he was looking at her like she's never seen a woman before. I don't know, maybe a part of it, like, I don't know, in my head I was thinking, wow, good for you, Titus. It wasn't for this stupid, like, you know, rules, you might never have a woman like this before, like, you know, because you're so weird. And of course any woman who, you know, are close to you would run away miles and miles away because they are so abusive, you know, like in my head. I'm making up all of this in my head while I'm watching the scene played. And of course, as soon as the vow was made and whatnot, they were being joined together as husband and wife. And the moment when he kisses her, it was such filled with lust and also pride, because he think he won her. And in fact, he did say that earlier, I forgot to mention this. Like, he did say, I got you, to Grace, as if like mocking her in a way, like, you know, in this game I got you, so I win the game. And now he's just like claiming his prize when he kissed her that way. I feel like he's claiming his prize. Yes, I mean this, I'm gonna kiss you whatever, however I want it. Like, I killed my sister for this. Forgot to mention, he killed his sister earlier because he hated to be controlled. And the moment he put on the ring to signify, I have won this chair and this woman is my wife, is that actually the moment where, spoiler alert, Grace decided to off him. She did this multiply, you know, multiple steps, and she was super meant it. Like, she really wants him to die. And the best part of it all is that Faith, her little sister, who joins to, you know, to see through the wedding, get to give him the final push into this hole where they put all their sacrifices inside. So she got to do the push, and it was magnificent. I feel like the audience in the cinema didn't know what to do with that scene. They were like, oh my god, did that just happen? And she even said the word, there's no rules between killing the family, which is true. There's no rules among killing you know, each other if you're family members. The rules only applies to people who kill the other family members, so it is allowed. And the gamekeeper, which is Elijah Woods, says it is allowed, so nobody should interfere, because of course when people see somebody being stabbed in front of their eyes, their first reaction is to be shocked by it. But Elijah Wood's character was just, you know, come down, relax, this is allowed. So now Grace is the next in line, because, you know, remember the twin sister died, now Titus died, so that's left with Grace as the leader of the seat. So she put on the ring like a true queen she is. She asked everybody to bow down to her, and everybody did, including the goat, which is so funny to me. Like, I mean, even the goat bowed down to my queen, yes. And then everybody was super clueless. They don't know what's gonna happen next, like what she's gonna order them to do. They have no idea, because Grace in this movie is a wild card. Like, she was not long for the game. She never even heard about this whole thing, like Mr. LaBelle, whatever, you know. It was never in her vernacular before, but now it is. So the first thing that she said, and I never thought she was gonna say it, but basically she renounced it, everything that have to do with satanic stuff. She renounced herself as the leader. She is not a part of them. And then she asked, like, what's gonna happen now? Okay, the rules now, if nobody hold to that seat in the next 3 minutes, then every single person in there, which is a lot of people basically who join in this thing, are gonna die. And how many minutes is this? Grace asked, and he said, in 3 minutes you're gonna win this game, and you know, everybody's just gonna drop dead. So what Grace did was to put, so she took off the ring, and then she throws it into the hole, the pit that have all the sacrifices, you know, that also include Titus in it. She put it in there, and then of course everybody else who was in there was super shocked. They don't know what to do, and then they only have 3 minutes to basically retrieve the ring and put it on themselves, because now the seat is open. So naturally everybody went inside of the hole, and all the freaking time I was thinking, there's no way in hell, all puns intended, that they're gonna make it, because everybody else was gonna be super busy killing each other just to get hold of that stupid little ring. And it was just like something that's set up to fail basically. So when Grace throws in the ring, I know they're gonna die. Like, all the devil worshipper are just gonna die in that hole. There's some evil voice in my head basically saying, ooh, the cleanup is gonna be much more easier than the first one. True to that, there's a huge freaking explosion after 3 minutes, because nobody get to put on the ring because they are so busy murdering each other, flies everywhere, like all the devil worshippers dies. And then there's this like one moment in the movie where there's a flame, and there's like Mr. LaBelle, and Grace's only reaction is to take Faith and a remaining goat who earlier bowed down to her away from that place. I remember her little interaction with the goat. Don't look that way, don't look at the splatter blood that way, look over here. And then they went out of their way and then just left the place forever. And that last scene, I don't know what it is, it just makes me slightly happier for Samara Weaving characters, Grace, because when the first film concludes, she was left by herself on the stairs in which she smokes. Well, on the second one, she left the place with the stairs, you know, like while she went down through the stairs with her sisters on her right and the goat on her left. And it makes me slightly happier because she's no longer alone. Like, after everything she went through, she's just not alone in this one. And also she still gets to smokes while the little sister was, you know, chewing gums or something like that. And then they were discussing what they're gonna do after this, and then she said, I want to take a shower, I want to eat and stuff like that. And then the credits roll. So that's basically the conclusion of this second movie of Ready or Not, Here I Come. And I guess my whole take about these two movies that was released 7 years after one another was just, I'm super happy that I got to live this long to watch the sequel happen, because despite of the chemistry issues and whatnot, I still feel like the premise of the movie is still there, you know, like Samara Weaving characters, Grace still have to fight for her life. Although, I mean, personally, I would like it if she just get to take a chill pill, like a little bit break, just so that she, I mean, at least put a foot in her body or something before she went straight to do this again. Because who would have an energy to do that all over again? Doesn't make any sense to me. And also, she got stabs a lot in the second film as well, just like the first one. So it's like, how can a person be traumatized so much in 24 hours? That I remember even the little sister joke. So that's your, you know, that's your second wedding this week. Are we gonna have more? Which is so funny to me. It was like, you know, It's true, she just got married to Alex the day before, and now she had to do this again, and marrying Titus. That is just insane for one person to experience, like, you know. But overall, I really like it, although I feel like some of the actors on the second movie was underused. Like, for example, I kind of wish the scene with Nestor Cabanel is a bit longer, Chinese woman a little bit longer, and then the Alex ex-girlfriend to be just as longer, and her to be a little bit smarter, just to make sense. Instead of funny, it makes sense. But yeah, we have, I guess at the end of the day, we have family is all we got, you know. Like, yeah, I think you know, the ending is acceptable, because up to that point, you know, after she agrees to marry Titus for whatever reason, I just felt like my heart dropped over there, because I do not want my girl to sell his soul to the devil. I don't want that. She did all she can on the first film to protect it. Like, why do you want to sell your soul? Little did I know that she already have a plan. She already concocted a plan on how to escape herself from there. It feels like she, you know, on the first film and the second one, she's just using her wits, you know, her street smart brain to just get away from this impossible situations. And I just love my girl so much. And honestly, some of the questions are being answered here as well. Like, for example, it's almost weird for somebody like Grace not to have a family, which is being answered on the second one. She does have a family, she just doesn't get along with them until the end. And the thing about Alex that kind of like, I guess kind of like boggles me a little bit is just that, I mean, I get it, Alex was super gorgeous and super, I guess, charismatic to, you know, to a point, that maybe that's why she fall in love with him and he fall in love with her. But also, I mean, it would be weird not to say that the money is not playing any role in that. But also, if I remember it correctly, on the first film, it seems like Alex was just tired with everything. Like, he was tired with his family business, and everything in between, that he kind of like seeks solace in Grace. And I remember a particular movie I watched not very long time ago called A House of Yes. And this is like a completely different movie, but I remember the guy was just super tired, you know, with his family, that he decided to just marry somebody that is out of his, I wouldn't say out of his league, because not to say she's a beneath him was kind of like overstatement either, but she's different from him is all I can say, because he's very like upper class and she was like middle class, not even that, like, you know. But he found solace in her, and they kind of like dated, and then they are engaged, which kind of like enraged the whole family, that they cannot believe that that happened. And of course there's a plot twist there as well, but I'm not gonna reveal it in this video. But it just reminds me of that, like, people who have a complicated family dynamics often find something else that are different from their family, just like an island, you know, trying to find the solace there. But eventually they have to face the music, they have to go back to their family, and that's when all shit hits fan. Alex and Grace love story was just too good to be true, but also it makes sense why it happens that way. I just hope we can see him one last time. I don't know why. I mean, I just love his face, you know. Alex actors, his face was so gorgeous. But I have a feeling that maybe Mr. LeBay doesn't really like the fact that Grace did escape the first game. I mean, I wouldn't say that she escaped it unscathed, but he probably are furious, and that's why the second clause was just like this new clause was being risen, and everybody have to haunt her and kill her. Maybe they just want something to sell so they can make more money. Whatever it is, I'm so glad I got to see my girl again, Samara Weaving. I love her. She made me fall in love with this movie. Although I gotta admit, the first time I saw her, I dead ass thought it was Margot Robbie for a second. But the moment she speaks, I know it's not Margot Robbie, and the moment she screams, I know it definitely she's not Margot Robbie, because Margot Robbie, no matter how talented she is, she cannot scream like that. She cannot scream like Samara Weaving Screams. Okay, that Scream is a $1 million Screams. You're not gonna find it anywhere else. So yeah, that's basically the story of today's video. I hope you guys enjoy me narrating about this whole movie. It's one of my favorites, and honestly, Scream franchise is also one of my favorites, so I might make a video about that if I feel like it. I might make a video about it because I really like Skeet Ulrich and also Matthew Lillard. I fall in love with both of them from that movie. I might talk about that movie later. So for now, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I know it's long, but I hope you guys enjoy me talking about it. Sorry if I spoil it for people who haven't watched it, but maybe you have watched it and just wanted to hear someone else talking about it. That could happen too. So with that being said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, or better yet, subscribe. So thank you, and I guess I'll see you soon on the next one. Bye bye. Bye, guys.